Everyone, hello and welcome back to another episode of Overwatch Weekly. This week is pretty slow. Not a lot has been going on in the past week, so I have a couple things to talk about, but overall not a lot. So video might not be too long, but there was some stuff that went on. The first thing, very simple, very short. There is another sale on the Blizzard store. This is a New Year's sale. Link is in the description to the tweet where they talk about it. But this New Year's sale will run until January 15th at 11 a.m. Pacific. Run from January 15th at 11 a.m. Pacific through February 1st at 10 a.m. Pacific, and you're going to receive up to 70% off while supplies last. Other terms and conditions apply. There's some hoodies, some pint glasses, some Nendoroids, the Overwatch 2019 calendar, some other non-Overwatch related stuff, but I'm sure if you're watching this, you don't really care about as much of the non-Overwatch related stuff. It's a little weird. It says that there is 3 pages, but there's really only 2, because when you go to 3 pages, it doesn't really show anything. But there's some stuff here. I think the website might have a bit of a bug right now with the way that it's not showing everything, but you get some of these hoodies for $45 as opposed to $60. Some nice looking hoodies, I won't lie to you. Don't know if I'd get one myself, but they are there if you want to check those out. So that is the sale. Next thing is the Kong Dole Productions My Hero Story. If you know about the My Hero Story thing that the Overwatch YouTube channel does, and they put on social media as well, but they basically just put up a video about a group of people who do something, right? Usually, they had Matilda Smedius, who is the voice actress for Brigitte. They had the guy who started EcoPoint in Brazil to, kind of help the environment. I don't remember his name. But this is a group of people who made a working Torbjorn turret, and they kind of, detail that, and, the fact that, they need more engineers or follow the stuff you like to do. So I'll have a link to that in the description. There's a Twitter status or tweet, that's the word, a tweet about that. Watch it with subtitles if you can't speak Korean, because they are a Korean company, so that's linked in the description down below. But the big thing I want to talk about is that this past week, Jeff Kaplan went on stream, both on Fran's stream and Iman GG's stream. There's a Reddit thread that kind of recaps it. This comes from Gran Queso OW on r/Overwatch, so thank you, Gran Queso. You can see a link to that thread in the description, which will lead you even to the streams where Jeff Kaplan visits Fran and Iman. But we're going to start with Iman and kind of go over some of the main things. The first thing is related to the PTR changes that went up last week. The balance changes where we saw Reaper get buffed and Brigitte get nerfed and the armor get nerfed. A lot of these were done because of goats. They want to try to hurt goats. So the big change to Reaper was done specifically to kind of hurt that. The little secret that Jeff Kaplan had mentioned a little while back was for Bastet. There's also things with competitive that Jeff's not happy with, and he mentions that there are reasons why SR goes up and down that we don't elaborate on, which thank you for saying that that's the truth, because I had some really bad run-ins earlier with comp, because it makes no sense why comp is as poorly done as it is in my opinion, and why I can play with somebody and we can play the same 10 placement matches and we finish up in different ranks, 600 SR apart from each other. It doesn't make any sense. So that is something that Jeff went into. He claims it's good at assessing your skill level, but that there's not a lot of progression to it. I don't believe it is good at assessing your skill level. I think there's some issues with that. Maybe initially it's good at assessing it, but it's bad at then assessing it later on. That's one of the really big parts that was discussed on Iman's stream. He also talks about how the different Q types, solo Q, team Q, don't solve the problems that they intend to solve. And if they did only solo queue, it would kill all forms of grouping, so that's kind of the problem. There pursuing the idea of a role queue that, how the skill of each hero slash role a player has is important, which is incredible. Um, because I think that would work, right? If you're really good on supports and you play supports and you want to go into a comp game and you want to play supports, well, then you can be put against better players because you're a better support player. If I'm really bad on Widowmaker. I'm not a good hit scan player, but if I want to play Widowmaker in comp, put me up against people who aren't that good, right? Where I can at least improve and learn and play better, because I'm never going to be able to improve Widowmaker if I'm playing against players that are good. So that's why I think that would be a really good idea to have it so that you can lock a role or even a hero before you go into comp, and then it will assess and judge that level of hero or role and will match you accordingly in that way. And Jeff in general just wants to find a way that players can put the heroes they want without being kind of abused by their teammates. So that's really the main stuff that he discussed on Iman's stream. On Fran's stream, he reiterated that they are working on more comics and that Hero 30 is progressing very nicely. He wants guilds to be a feature that is not just Overwatch related, but is Blizzard related, and that it's every Blizzard game you can have these guilds. Archives is coming back, and there might be something cool on the horizon to be looking forward to about that. He is very happy with the way Overwatch League Season 1 went. He is very interested in why LFG works and why he thinks they need to put a little bit more time into it just so that it becomes an overall better thing and that players need to utilize it more. But the problem with it is the wait times are too long. I think that's a big bit of an issue with it because then no one wants to do it because the wait times are too long. So that's really where the problem needs to be solved. He said on the competitive topic that there are no massive changes coming anytime soon. That there's stuff in the works, but it's a little hard to figure it out. And they have some stuff some changes they want to make, but they're not soon or close at all. They're pretty far off right now. And he said that the main issue with making changes with competitive play touches the matchmaker, and the matchmaker is one of the most complex pieces of the system. So it's hard to really change what's going on because it messes things up, and they have big plans to improve it, but they need more time. That's kind of the overall idea. So in general, it's really just kind of a recognition that comp is kind of bad right now, and I agree. There shouldn't be reasons why my SR goes up or down that isn't based on the way I play, right? Obviously, like wins and losses are important, but I think that there should be kind of there needs to be, I think, a revamped kind of medal system at the end of the games, right? At the end of a game, you shouldn't just get a medal because, oh, I did the most damage. But, like, if your team lost and you had the most damage on your team, how does that stack up with the other team, right? If you were, like, in the game, right? I think it should kind of be game total, right? If you, in a game, right, had the most healing of anybody, right? You should gain SR for that. Even if your team lost, if you healed more than anybody else, you did your role the best. You should gain something for that. There's just so much wrong, I think, with comp and the way it's kind of very basic and doesn't really. It's very like it's very yes or no. Did you win? Yes, you gain SR. Did you lose? Yes. Or did you win? No, then you lose SR. It's not a system that I think really shows how good players are. But the easiest way to do it, and the way that isn't super insanely complicated, is if you win, you go up. If you don't, you go down. It's all just very confusing. I think there's some issues with competitive. Obviously, I don't know enough, but I would like to see how they get improved upon, because I think that would be one of the best ways to figure this out. I should also mention that this Jeff on the streams comes also from the Overwatch forums, from Wyoming Mist, who is an MVP on there. So this is where you can get all this information on kind of Jeff on these two streams. Mostly, of course, it's about comp and why comp is broken and needs to be fixed, which I agree. I think comp is in a bad state. It's in a bad place. It does have some issues and it needs to be worked out. But that really is what the basis of those stream interviews were. Finally, just a little link in the description to some Overwatch League team reviews or breakdowns. I don't really know how to describe it. I'll open it up again. Team previews. Team previews. So you can kind of get an idea of these teams ahead of Season 2. You can kind of get a better idea of it. I also have some videos to talk about a lot of the teams, but these are more professional opinions on those. So if you want those, feel free to check those out. They are not... they haven't done one for every team yet. They have done it for the Boston Uprising, the Florida Mayhem, the Houston Outlaws, London Spitfire, New York Excelsior, Toronto Defiant, and Paris Eternal. But that's it so far. So if you want to read any of those, check the description. I will have a link to the Paris Eternal one, which from there you can get to the other ones as well. So they will, I'm sure, continue to update the website with more of those as time goes on. But that is everything I have for you. Pretty slow week as a whole, but that is what I've got. Yeah, that's really, I don't really know what I'm trying to say. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, consider liking and subscribing. Comment down below your thoughts on this whole competitive situation, and if you think competitive is in a place where it needs to be improved upon, because I think it does. But that's all. Thank you once again, and I'll see you all next video. Alright, bye-bye.